Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. Dustin sitting here with Mike. This is our bi-weekly baseball show. Before we get into it, all our football stuff is up. Be sure to check it out. Top 150 cheat sheet, all that good stuff on the homepage. There's links to it on the sidebar. Let's do a little buy low, sell high. Mike, hit them with some buy lows.
Sure. The first couple buy low guys we got are both first-round picks in Matt Kemp and Troy Tulowitzki. Now, depending on what team they're on, you may be able to really get them at a pretty good deal. Both of them have been on the DL, pretty long stints there. Kemp should be coming back soon. Tulowitzki, they're saying about 6 more weeks. But, you know, again, if you're in a position where you're looking good for the playoffs and the team that owns these two players is not, you could get them for a pretty good price.
All right, now I got a couple of sell high guys. First one, Mike Trout. Don't hate me too much. I know this guy's been playing amazing. But here's the thing. I mean, the chances of him sustaining this are very low. I'm not ready to say that Mike Trout is a top 2 outfielder. He's playing like one right now, but I think he will be at some point in his career. But he's going to have some ups and downs this year. If you can get Matt Kemp for him right now, why not? I say go for it. You know, obviously keeper leagues, dynasty leagues, you got to put a higher price tag on them. But redraft leagues, I say sell him now if you can. And the other guy, Carlos Beltran, this guy's been playing absolutely out of his mind this year, but we just really don't see him sustaining it throughout the whole year. If you can get even close to full value for him now, we say do it. All right, let's take a look at that waiver wire. Let's start with the guys we think are must-adds in pretty much all leagues. First one, Tom Wilhelmsen for Seattle. Only on about 55% of leagues, but ever since this guy's taken over the closer role, he's been unbelievable, well over a K per inning. You know, we think he has such a good hold on this job at this point. It's definitely his job to lose. We don't see why he's not getting picked up in more leagues. Pick him up if he's available.
Next guy on the list is Casey McGee. He's definitely proven he can bat for power and average before. And he's only 10% owned, which was a little surprising, especially if there's last 30 days he's had 5 home runs, 19 RBIs while batting .310. So he also has dual position eligibility at first and third. So definitely worth a pickup if he's still available in your league.
Which it sounds like he probably is.
Yeah.
We were a little shocked by that percentage owned with him. Next, we got Salvador Perez, one of our favorite sleepers coming into the year. And we got injured. He's back now, and he's playing amazing. He's only under about 25% of leagues. It's not too late to pick him up. If he's still available, if you need a catcher, we really like that move. And he does give you potentially instant trade value. You could either trade him if he keeps playing well, or trade your catcher that you already have, because I think this guy could be an everyday catcher for your fantasy team.
Yeah, next we're going to take a look at some ads in deeper leagues. The first guy on the list, which was actually on our list last time, is Carlos Marmol. He's definitely done it in the past, and he can, you know, put up some decent ERAs. ERA is not that great this year, but he is the closer. You know, the Cubs are going to have a decent amount of save opportunities, so definitely worth a look in deeper leagues.
Next, we got Travis Wood, another Cubs pitcher. This guy's only owned about 15% of leagues right now. In his last 4 starts, he's 3-1. And has only given up 4 earned runs during that stretch. He's definitely pitching well right now. And taking a look at his minor league stats, he was kind of all over the place. He had some really, really good years, some really, really bad years. So maybe he's on the verge of figuring things out. He's still fairly young. We like him as a potential gamble right now.
Next guy on the list is Michael Fierz. He's definitely had some solid numbers in 2011 in the minors. In the bigs, he's only pitched 39 innings, but definitely worth a look because he has a K per and an ERA just over 2. So again, if you need help at starting pitcher position, he's definitely worth a look.
Moving on, we got Aoki for Milwaukee. I'm not even going to try to say his first name. Japanese outfielder. You know who I'm talking about.
Starts with an N.
He's only owned in about 35% of leagues right now. You know, he didn't get a lot of as much hype as some of the other Japanese players that have come over, but looking at his Japanese stats, he actually played really well. You know, he did have a decline his last year over there before coming to the United States to play. But so far this year, 17 extra base hits. He's batting just under 300, 10 stolen bases. Not too shabby. You know, anytime you can get an outfielder or any position with a guy that can bat for power and throw in some speed, you got to look at him and potentially pick him up in your fantasy team.
Next guy on the list is another one that's going to be a little hard to pronounce. Yasmani Grandal.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. Catcher, and he batted .335 in the minors so far. They just called him up. He's only had 20 at-bats, but out of those 20 at-bats, he's already had 4 home runs. So he's obviously not going to hit 1 home run for every 5 at-bats moving forward. But, you know, even if he does okay with the power numbers, that's a good position to add power to. So, again, take a look if you need some power at the catcher position.
We got one guy for you all to keep an eye on. This is more for keeper leagues and dynasty leagues if he's not already picked up in those leagues. But Dylan Bundy for the Orioles. You know, they're saying he might get called up late in the year if the Orioles are still in contention, but we'll see how that goes. He's owning less than 5% of leagues right now. But this guy, you know, was one of the first guys drafted in the last year's draft, and he's been pitching amazing in the minors. He's at their single-A team right now. He's been pitching pretty good for them, and we think if he does get called up, he could have kind of an instant impact. But we'll see if the Orioles are willing to call him up.
All right, let's take a look at a few of those forum questions. The first one comes from Sergeant Leg.
Sergeant.
I send Hanley Ramirez and Rafael Soriano, and I get Mark Trumbo and Wilhelmsen.
I mean, this one is an interesting trade. Trumbo's been amazing. You know, the position eligibility with him is nice with first, third, and outfield in most leagues. Hanley Ramirez, it's a little scary giving him up, and then he did point out, too, that this is a dynasty league. I do think you win the closer part of this deal because I do think Wilhelmsen has a bigger upside long-term. Hopefully he can keep doing what he's been doing. Soriano's kind of older. So it comes down to Hanley Ramirez or Trumbo. The only thing that scares me about this is if Trumbo loses his third base eligibility, all you get is a first base outfield guy for Hanley Ramirez. That's a little scary, but if he's going to keep it, I actually like this trade for you. I think Trumbo has a bright future. He's obviously playing great this year. So, it's kind of tricky, but I don't think it's a bad gamble. Next one comes from M. Louis89. Should he send Chris Sale and Cody Ross and get Hamels in return?
I think this is definitely a good trade, or, you know, definitely send this over. I mean, Chris Sale, he's had some, you know, tender elbow issues. He was temporarily moved to a closer role, then brought back in the starting lineup. You know, if that elbow becomes a problem again, they may start keeping him on to a pitch count or really keep an eye on his innings. And if you can get a guy like Cole Hamels for him and Cody Ross, I mean, Cody Ross is an outfielder. They're playing okay, but they're kind of a dime a dozen, so he's easily replaceable. So I say definitely send this trade.
So that'll do it for our bi-weekly baseball show. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, check out all of our football stuff. Follow us on Twitter at Fancy Advice. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Get into those forums. Almost football time.
It's for you, Namco.